Okay.
Hey, Rick.
Hey, Megan, how you doing?
Well, I'm doing nice and cool here in the office thanks to Century
Hmm.
21 and their amazing office that they have provided me here with air conditioning
Very
and
nice.
a fan. So,
Wow.
yeah, I know it's a situation out there, and we kind of got away with having a very mild summer, and now it is out to get us, right?
We knew it was coming. It's always going to come about this time of the year.
Mm. Well, I've got a hot topic, and it's going to be a
Hmm.
two-part series. And we're going to start on that today. And my clients, Mel and M, and I came up with this when we were out looking at properties on Saturday.
Hmm.
I like my clients to ride in the car with me because then we can chat and we can get to know each other better. And we can talk about the houses we saw, why we liked them, why we didn't like them. Just,
Hmm.
there's not enough uh, talking, really, quite frankly, that can go on while you're out looking at houses. And the more I get to know somebody, the better I'm able to help them. So,
There you
uh,
go.
yeah. So we came up with this, and they thought it was going to be a total shoe in. Like everybody's going to need
Mm.
to hear this information. So let's get started. Ready?
Yay. Yeah, let's go.
All right. So this part one is
Hmm.
the uh, top five hints that you have hired the wrong realtor. You've hired the wrong realtor. Top five reasons, hints, circumstances that you've suddenly found yourself in. And this is going to be part one of two parts. This is going to be the listing agent part. Okay. And this was prompted, the whole conversation started when we went to an open house, and it was pretty hot out on Saturday. And the realtor was sitting in their car in the driveway. The car was on, and their air conditioner was on, so good for them. And maybe they had a medical reason why they were doing that or what have you. I don't know what the circumstances were, but they basically handed us a flyer from their car. I think they did get out of the car and sort of wished us well. Just said, "Go look at the
Wow.
house." And the house was not presented well. The curtains
Hmm.
were closed and the AC wasn't on. We couldn't even get
Wow.
out the back door. We weren't even sure, like, what the circumstance was with that. So just very disappointing kind of a
Mm.
situation. Okay, so that's the inspiration for this
Hmm.
educational post, because after all, we want everyone to be successful and to have a great time with their real estate transaction and not feel like they need, counseling afterwards, right?
Good idea.
All right. So, here we go. Number one. This is one of the most annoying ones. And this is going to be kind of a negative podcast because my clients and I decided that people were going to pay attention to things better if it's negative. So,
Well, the reality is that happens a lot in our business, right? We deal with these
yeah,
things all the time. So it's important to know what to look out for, right?
yeah, yeah. So, the number one thing, the reason you should not choose a realtor or you have found yourself in a situation, in my opinion, is that you have hired someone at a discount rate, but expect like a
Mm.
full-time realtor with proven results and a great track record and wonderful reviews and all this sort of thing. It's like, if you've ever needed an attorney in your life for anything, you are looking for an attorney. And I'm not comparing attorneys with realtors. I know attorneys are very superiorly educated than realtors. I completely understand that. But both have the
Hmm.
potential of causing you a lot of harm or saving you a lot of headaches in your life, okay? Causing you um, stress, costing you tens of thousands of dollars, maybe even more. So you would go and find an attorney that had a great track record, had good
Hmm. Hmm.
reviews, maybe it was a referral from a friend, that sort of thing. And then you wouldn't find that attorney and say, I think attorneys charge about $450 an hour usually.
Mm.
You wouldn't find that attorney and say, can you charge me $400 an hour instead of what you normally charge
Hmm.
for
Hmm.
this service? You would never do that. And so you've really got to look at the realtor you're hiring, what you're paying them based off of what their accomplishments are. Like
Right,
don't
right.
haggle. You don't go and haggling a top producing realtor for commissions. I mean, you could certainly try and they're allowed to respond how they want. But what I'm telling you is that a top producing realtor does not have to haggle their commissions. They have plenty of clients who are willing to pay them what their
Hmm.
going
Hmm.
rate is to bring
Hmm.
the type of service that they're known for, what their reputation is, their results, that sort of thing. So you really have to be careful about haggling, okay? Because that can also turn your realtor off. And you want that realtor and you to be, you know, kin, basically, because this is going to be a big
Hmm.
deal to sell your house.
Hmm. Yep.
All right. So the thing you have to check when you're interviewing the realtors is like, who are you going to be dealing with? Are you going to be dealing with that realtor? Are you going to be dealing with someone on their team? Like, how is that going to go down? You have to look for a realtor that is going to manage your expectations about communication and who you're going to be communicating with, right?
Hmm.
Um, and that brings us to number two. How are you going to know when you have hired a realtor who doesn't communicate properly with you? Well, there's going to be signs. They aren't, they were like hot to trot to talk to you. Then you signed the agreement and now it's hard to get a hold of them, hard to get an
Yeah, missing in
answer,
action.
missing
Yeah.
in action. They have
Yeah, we
abandoned.
see that. Hmm.
Yeah, we do see that. And you want a realtor who is going to communicate with you to the best of their ability. Obviously, if they're driving or if they're at an appointment, like we know that we can't be communicating with four different sets of people simultaneously, but someone who responds in a timely manner with a thoughtful response that gets your questions answered is someone that you should be looking for because not only are they communicating with you and they're on their best behavior when they're communicating with you, but you also need that realtor to communicate with the appraiser, other realtors, for goodness sakes. Okay, there's a whole slew. Getting your house sold, signing an agreement, blah, blah, blah. That is like the scratching the surface of what's going to have
Yeah,
to
that's
go
just,
down here.
yeah, for sure.
And if they don't communicate with you, how are they going to communicate with realtors that want to see your house? Realtors that have offers, feedback from realtors. What is going on here with the communication?
Well, also, once you get into escrow, how's that going to work? A lot more
Yeah,
goes on than just signing an agreement to open escrow.
bingo. Exactly. Um, Number three. Now, this is a very sort of controversial opinion because we all had to
Hmm.
start somewhere and not everybody
Hmm.
was a top producer right off the bat, but you should really avoid working with somebody, in my opinion, that has multiple jobs, that isn't doing
Mm.
this full time,
Right,
that
right.
isn't doesn't have their finger on the pulse, because real estate, the market is not, lineal. I mean, there's stuff that's
Hmm.
going on every week. Expectations are changing, seasons are changing. What is going on? What's out there for sale? Has there been a sudden increase of homes in the sales price of 800,000? Like, you need to know what is going on so that you can advise your clients and you can act accordingly. Because if you put your house up for sale and you think it's still 2021, that you're going to have 50 people come in, you don't have to do anything, and they're going to offer, $100,000 over,
Not
that's
going to
kind of,
happen.
yeah, it's not going to happen. So that's why I love working with buyers. I don't just work with sellers, I work with buyers, and we go out looking at houses, and that really helps me to keep my finger on the pulse of what's out there for what price range. And I'm talking, before I go see the houses, because I do have a team that works with me here, but
Hmm. Hmm.
we have a spreadsheet for each buyer, and we call the agent and we say, what's going on? Do you have any offers? All these questions. And that also helps to sort of see what's going on in the market, And so
Hmm.
you've got to get somebody who's doing this full time, who's available, who understands the happenings of the market, because we're talking about you're potentially going to make like most people make hundreds of thousands of dollars off their sale. I mean, don't you want to make sure that
Hmm.
who you're trusting for this like knows what they're doing and is doing it all the time and is an
Right.
expert? For
Well, it's a good
God's
point because what I see a lot, and I know you see it as well.
sake.
So often we see it, and it's almost alarming in some respects, is that they will choose an agent based on some reduced commission rate, but then we get involved in these escrows. There's all kinds of things, negotiations. There's inspections. There's all kinds of things happening, and I've seen so many times on my transactions where an agent just caves in and they give up something, and it's like, no, no, they cost the seller tens of thousands of dollars sometimes by just not negotiating something that should be negotiated. They just go,
Right,
okay, because they don't. Well, they're at their other job. They don't have
right,
time, and they go, okay, we'll do that. But they don't really dig deep into what they can really negotiate and really fight. They don't really fight for their client. I see it so often, and I go, man, oh man, and of course, in my position, it's like watching a train wreck. I can't do anything
right,
about it. I just have to go, okay, that's okay. But I see it so often, and even for me as a lender, I've got critical updates sometimes, and I'm calling the agent. Oh, can I call you back at 5:30?
right.
No, this is important, like right now, 2 in the afternoon. Oh yeah, but I'm not available. Okay. So when I see that happening, I feel sorry for the seller in those
Yeah.
scenarios. And we see those a lot.
Yeah. And maybe those
We do.
realtors, maybe a good solution to that is for them to partner with a realtor who's doing it full time. Like if you're not going to
Right.
be available during business hours, then you need to partner with somebody who is and make sure that
Hmm.
things are
Hmm.
getting handled in an expeditious way. Um,
For sure.
yeah. And then let's see here. Number four is
Hmm.
a saying that we have at our house, which is, how you do one thing is how you do
You
everything.
do
So,
everything. Yep. Oh yeah.
yeah. So if you
I got that.
Yeah, if you happen to catch this realtor
Hmm.
with their marketing online, are they online? When you look up their name, can you find them or are they just like a circle? I had one of my clients who is also a friend message me last week because their friend had listed their house. They were out of state and they were really unhappy that they weren't getting good advice or feedback, and there wasn't any pre-marketing sort of counseling on how to prepare the house or any repairs that need to be made or that sort of thing. And they were wondering, why it didn't sell. And I happened to look up this agent's
Hmm.
name. Real simple, took me a few seconds, just highlight, paste, boom, done. And they'd sold
Hmm.
like 5 houses in the last 10 years. It's like, well,
Ooh, ouch.
yeah. So it's like, man, come
I
on.
know,
Feel
right?
so bad for them because they, potentially now they have to take their house off the market because in order for your house to look like a new listing, it's got to be off for a while. And we're in September. So if you have to take your house off the market for 60 days,
They'll
well,
be well
do
into
the
the
math.
holidays.
That's now we're in the holidays. So,
Hmm.
you might as well wait till next spring and do some of
Ugh,
that pre-marketing.
lose that momentum.
hmm And
Yeah,
we
for
don't know what
sure.
things are going to be like next spring. Of course, we're optimistic, but I mean, look what happened with COVID. I mean, we didn't know that
Mm,
that was happening. So it's better, like we always say, you know, seize the moment, seize the day, and when there's an opportunity, take it. The last
100%.
thing, yeah, number five here is if you've hired an agent and they're always flustered,
Mm,
unorganized, talking about how busy they are, I'm busy, 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 then you've probably hired somebody that doesn't have any systems in place and
or
doesn't have
process.
control of their
Hmm.
business, their process. And, you know, people sometimes they say, well, I didn't want to text you about this because I figured you're busy. I say, I'm not busy. I'm productive, but I'm not busy.
Hmm. Hmm.
So, let's talk about it. What's going on? So those are my top five things that you might be in a situation if you have a realtor like this, or maybe you're looking for a
Hmm.
realtor and you need to look for some things to look for. And I mean, anybody that I've worked with has been somebody that's come as a referral for all my big decisions or
Hmm.
from
Hmm.
a lot of market research, because it's
There
You
you
never
go.
know how long you're going to be stuck with that person, working with them, and you don't want it to
It'd be
be
a
a total
while.
nightmare. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Well, look, it's a commitment for sure, and it's so important. And we've been through so many of these scenarios over the years, you and I together, and individual transactions along the way. But it's for me in my position, it's challenging. I know for you as well, but it's challenging because I see these things unraveling, and I know what the answers are. We know from history, and from experience, how to. It's most of the time it's a fairly easy fix.
Hmm.
But for the people who are in the business who think it's, well, if I just cut my commissions or cut this or cut that, we can, do okay. But it's a higher level skill set than that. It's a much higher level
Hmm.
skill set, right?
Yeah. The first thing you're doing is cutting people's money. It's like if your
Mhm.
realtor's cutting their own compensation, then what makes you think they're going to fight hard for yours? Hello, right?
Yeah, I mean, and back to your attorney example. I mean, listen, if I'm in a situation, if I'm in court, so I want the guy that paying, $200 an hour, or the guy I'm paying 450 an hour fighting for
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
Well, the guy's getting 450 an hour, knows what he's doing, he's gonna probably win the case, versus the guy at $200 an hour is gonna have to give up something somewhere that I'm not gonna be happy about.
Right. Right. This is true. Well,
Mhm.
hopefully this was helpful for people to understand, good decisions versus bad decisions, and to pick a person to work with to save themselves. Like we always say, you don't know what you don't know. And
Mhm. Yep,
now
yep,
with
that's so
the
true.
markets getting more
Hmm.
complicated, and
Hmm.
more detailed, thank goodness. And so it really forces the truths to come out in people's
Yeah,
ability to get stuff done. So
and it'll come
that's
out
it for
early,
now.
early and often.
Yep. So next week, tune in for the top 5 ways that you've picked the wrong realtor for a buyer's agent.
Oh boy, that's gonna be fun.
I know. All
Can't
right, Rick.
wait.
I appreciate you.
Appreciate you, Megan. Thanks as
All right, I'll
always.
see you next week.
Okay, see ya. Take care.
Bye.